Did you know that the United States is the only country in the entire world that had laws on the books that prohibited a group of people from learning how to read and write? Yes, you heard that correctly. The United States is the only country that is known to have laws on the books that prohibited a group of people, in this instance, Black people, from learning how to read and write. Many slave owners were terrified of the idea of their slaves learning how to read and write, because how can you possibly continue to oppress and control a group of people if they are somehow knowledgeable of things? Remember, knowledge is power. There was a lot of concern during slavery about slaves knowing how to read and write and how it might contribute to insurrection and rebellion. There was a lot of people that were worried that if they knew how to read and write, they might overpower us. There was also a lot of concern that if people knew how to read and write, then they could forge the paperwork to get them their freedom. And states like Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Missouri, Louisiana, Georgia, it was against the law. If you taught a slave how to read or write, you could be fined, imprisoned, or flogged. Now, you did have slave owners that would teach their slaves how to read and write. A lot of times this happened when you had children in the home. And remember, the slave children would oftentimes be the playmates to the white children in the family. Because they were playmates and they were all kind of playing together, because remember, these slaves weren't really people. They were just kind of considered human dolls to play with these kids. They would all kind of learn together. People couldn't really stop it. And naturally, these young children would learn how to read and write. You also had instances where they would deliberately teach people how to read and write so that they could help them with their business. So it was usually something advantageous to them. And in places in the North, there was actually specific guidance that would help you teach your slave how to read, usually for something related to reading the Bible, so they could be better Christians. Because remember, they used the Bible to justify slavery. But it was still an act of rebellion to be literate. Frederick Douglass knowing how to read and write while enslaved was truly a dangerous thing. And we have to remember that being literate was truly a key to freedom. This is Lucius Holsey. While he was still enslaved, he ended up selling rags to people and gained enough money to acquire a library of books. He got 5 books. 2 of them were spelling books. One was the Bible. One was John Milton's Paradise Lost, and the other was a dictionary. And he taught himself to read word by word. When slavery ended and he became free, he became a bishop in the church and then raised money to create educational institutions for Black people. And this is the spirit of the Black American experience. We are able to overcome every obstacle put in our way and triumph over it. We're incredibly resilient.